I just wanted groceries. Nothing more, nothing less. The aisles of that store were familiar, but that afternoon, every step I took felt heavy, like the air itself was waiting for something to happen. My cart wasn't even half full when I felt eyes drilling into the back of my neck. "Excuse me?" A sharp voice cut through the quiet. I turned. A woman in a crisp store uniform stood there, arms folded, her name badge glinting under the fluorescent lights. She stared at me like I was poison. "Yes?" I asked. "You need to put that back," she said flatly. I blinked. "Put what back?" "That bag of coffee in your cart," she snapped. "I saw you slip it in without scanning it." For a second, I thought she was joking. Then I realized she wasn't. I laughed. Not because it was funny, but because it was absurd. "Ma'am, this isn't self-checkout. I haven't paid yet. It's in the cart because I plan to buy it." Her lips tightened. "Don't get smart with me. We've had incidents before, people like you thinking they can just walk out without paying." Her words landed like a punch. "People like you." My chest tightened, but I kept my voice calm. "I'm a paying customer. I don't appreciate being accused of theft." "Save it," she barked, then raising her voice. "Security!" My cart sat between us like evidence. Though inside there was nothing but milk, bread, fruit, and that single bag of coffee. Shoppers slowed, whispering. Their eyes darted between her and me like I was already guilty. A man in a security vest appeared, looking unsure. "What's going on here?" "She was caught stealing," the manager declared, pointing at me as if she'd just solved a crime. My stomach dropped. "That's not true. I haven't bought anything yet. Everything is right here in the cart." The guard hesitated. "Ma'am, maybe—" "Call the police," she cut him off. "I don't tolerate thieves in my store." Gasps rippled through. The small crowd gathering near the registers. My face burned, not from guilt, but from humiliation. "You're calling the cops?" I asked, my voice cracking. "You bet I am," she said smugly, already pulling out her phone. "Maybe a night in jail will teach you some respect." My heart pounded against my ribs. "This is a mistake. You're making a huge mistake." Her smile thinned. Cruel. "The only mistake was letting you shop here in the first place." Those words, they hit harder than the threat of handcuffs. I glanced around. Some shoppers looked uncomfortable, others entertained, and a few they just shook their heads, like this was nothing new. I whispered to myself, "Why is it always us?" She sneered, loud enough for everyone to hear. "Because you people never learn." Every muscle in my body screamed to fight back, to shout, to defend myself, but I didn't move. I knew if I reacted, I'd lose more than just my dignity. The guard shifted uneasily. "Maybe we should wait until the police get here before—" "No," she snapped. "She waits right here." Her eyes locked on me, sharp and predatory. She wanted me humiliated. She wanted me small. But something inside me stirred. I straightened my back, breathing deep. "If you call the police, you'd better be ready to explain yourself, because I'm not the one who's going to regret this." Her laugh was short, sharp, dismissive. "We'll see about that." The phone pressed to her ear. The whispers grew louder. I stood frozen, shame mixing with quiet rage. That's when it hit me. This wasn't about coffee. It wasn't even about groceries. This was about power, her prejudice, her need to put me in my place. But she had no idea who she was dealing with. Because the very person she thought was powerless wasn't, and in 10 minutes her entire world was about to collapse. The minutes stretched like hours. I stood frozen, clutching the cart handle, trying to hold my dignity together while strangers' eyes burned into me. Then came the sound I dreaded. Sirens outside, cutting through the silence of the store. The sliding doors opened, and 2 officers stepped inside. One tall with graying hair, the other younger, his jaw tight, his eyes scanning quickly. The manager's lips curled. "They're here." She folded her arms like she'd already won. "There she is," she announced loudly, pointing straight at me before either officer even spoke. "Caught stealing. I need her removed immediately." I swallowed hard, my chest rising and falling. But I steadied myself. "Officers," I said, my voice trembling but firm, "I didn't steal anything. Everything is right here in this cart. I haven't even gone to checkout yet." The older officer spoke gently. "Ma'am, let's just get your side of the story." "There is no side," the manager barked. "She took merchandise. I saw it. Call it what it is, shoplifting." I snapped my head toward her. "Shoplifting? You're accusing me in front of all these people without a shred of proof?" Her eyes narrowed. "You think I need proof?" "My word is proof." The younger officer shifted, clearly uneasy. "Do you have security footage?" For the first time, the manager faltered. Her confidence flickered like a light bulb. I know what I saw." "That's not the same as evidence," I shot back, my voice rising. "You can't just call the police on someone because you feel like it." She glared at me. "Don't you raise your voice at me. I'll raise it as high as I need." My chest heaved, anger pouring out. "You humiliated me. You dragged my name through the dirt in front of strangers, and for what? Because of the color of my skin?" The words dropped heavy. Gasps rippled through the crowd again. The security guard, who'd been silent up until now, shifted forward, his voice low, almost reluctant. "Honestly, I didn't see her take anything. She just put the coffee in her cart, like anyone would." The officers exchanged a glance. The manager spun on him, fury in her voice. "Whose side are you on?" "The truth," he muttered. The older officer exhaled slowly. "Ma'am, without evidence, we can't charge her. Do you want to review the cameras before escalating?" "I don't need to review anything," the manager snapped. "She's guilty. Look at her. Look how she's acting. Defensive." I laughed bitterly. "Defensive? Wouldn't you be defensive if you were being treated like a criminal for shopping? For existing?" Her jaw clenched. "Don't. Play the victim card?" "The victim card?" I stepped closer, lowering my voice so every word cut sharper. "You called the cops on me because you thought you could humiliate me into silence. You thought I'd bow my head and apologize for something I didn't do. Not today." The older officer raised a hand. "All right, let's calm down." But I didn't let him finish. "No." My voice was steady now, stronger than ever. My eyes never left hers. "This ends differently," the manager smirked. "What are you going to do? Cry? File a complaint?" I tilted my head, letting a controlled smile spread across my face. "No. Something a little stronger than that." Her eyebrows knitted together, suspicion flickering. "What are you talking about?" I leaned forward just enough that only she could truly feel the weight of my words. "You'll find out very soon, and when you do, you'll regret every single word you've said today." For the first time, her confidence cracked, a tiny blink, a flicker of fear she couldn't hide. The officers looked between us, sensing something deeper was unraveling right in front of them. Even the security guard's mouth fell open, like he suddenly realized I wasn't just another customer, and he was right, because I was done hiding it. This wasn't the end of the story. In less than 10 minutes, her career, her reputation, her entire smug little empire inside that store was going to crumble, and I was going to be the one holding the hammer. The officers hadn't left yet. The air was thick, so thick it felt like trying to breathe underwater. Shoppers huddled closer, phones raised, recording every second. The manager still stood tall, her chin up, smug as ever. But I could see it, the cracks forming. "You don't scare me," she muttered. But her voice, it didn't have the same bite as before. I gave her the faintest smile. "I don't need to scare you. You've already done the damage yourself." The older officer cleared his throat, trying to defuse the storm. "Listen, ma'am. Before this escalates further, I suggest you either show us the security footage or let this customer finish shopping in peace. She's not a customer, the manager snapped. Her voice shot through the store like broken glass. She's a thief, the younger officer sighed, his patience thinning. With respect, ma'am, you've got no proof of that. I tilted my head at her, and for the first time, I almost pitied her. You really don't get it, do you? I asked softly. Her eyes narrowed. Get what? That this little show of power you think you have, it's paper thin, and you're about to find out just how fragile it really is. She barked, a laugh, but it cracked halfway through. What, you gonna sue me? Go ahead, we've got lawyers for people like you. I shook my head slowly. No, I don't need a lawyer. That's when the crowd felt it. The shift. The energy in the room tilted, heavy with anticipation. I reached into my bag and pulled out my phone. My hand didn't shake. My fingers tapped a single number, one I'd memorized for moments just like this. The line rang once, and then, "Ma'am," came a crisp, professional voice. I didn't look away. From the manager. My words carried through the store loud enough for every phone camera to capture. Yes, I said. This is happening again. At your store location. The manager's name is... I paused, locking eyes with her. What is your name, by the way? Her jaw tightened. Why would I tell you? Because corporate will need it for the report, I said evenly, her face drained of color. Corporate? The crowd gasped. A ripple of whispers moved through the aisles. Yes, I continued into the phone, my voice steady as steel. She falsely accused me of theft, humiliated me in front of dozens of customers, called the police without cause. I want this documented immediately. The manager's lips parted. Her voice stumbled. What? Who are you talking to? I covered the receiver with my hand and gave her the smallest, coldest smile. Someone much higher than you. The younger officer's eyebrows shot up. The security guard stepped back like he suddenly realized he was standing in the middle of something, much bigger than a bag of coffee. I turned back to the phone. Send someone down here, right away. And yes, make sure HR is present. Yes, ma'am, the voice replied without hesitation. When I hung up, silence swallowed the room. Even the register beeps had stopped. The manager swallowed hard. You can't just... Oh, I can. I cut her off. My voice was no longer shaky, no longer small. It was calm, controlled, commanding. And I did. The older officer cleared his throat almost cautiously. Ma'am, perhaps you should... No! The manager snapped. But it came out shaky now, desperate. She's bluffing. She's nothing. She's just some woman trying to intimidate me. I leaned forward, my voice low but sharp enough to cut glass. If I'm bluffing, why are your hands shaking? She froze. Then she looked down and saw it, her own fingers trembling against her folded arms. The crowd murmured, louder this time. Their phones stayed pointed at her like spotlights she couldn't escape. I stood taller. The weight of humiliation that had been crushing me all afternoon lifted. 10 minutes, I said softly, but my words carried through the silence like thunder. In 10 minutes, you'll understand exactly who you're dealing with. The manager tried to laugh again, but it broke halfway through like glass shattering. You don't have that kind of power. I didn't blink. I didn't flinch. I just held her gaze, unyielding. Yes, I said, my voice steady, my face calm, my conviction undeniable. Yes, I do. And in that moment, even she believed it. The silence inside that store was heavy, almost suffocating. Whispers rippled through the crowd. Phones stayed raised, their little red record lights aimed at me and at her. The manager's face was flushed now, beads of sweat forming at her temple. She tried to keep her posture stiff, proud. but I could see it slipping. And then, just like I promised, 10 minutes later, the automatic doors slid open. A man in a tailored suit stepped inside, flanked by a woman holding a clipboard. Their presence changed the air immediately. Quiet authority, the kind that silences gossip, the kind that makes every eye in the room pay attention. "Excuse me?" the man said, his voice calm but commanding as he scanned the room. His gaze landed on me first. "Are you the one who made the call?" "Yes," I answered, my voice steady, my chest lifted with relief. The manager, Cynthia, darted forward before I could say another word. "Oh, thank God you're here," she cried. Her tone turned frantic but still clinging to arrogance. "Finally, someone reasonable. This woman, this customer," she spat the word like poison, "was caught stealing. She's wasting your time with some ridiculous lie about calling corporate." The man raised one eyebrow. "And you are?" "Cynthia," she said proudly, straightening her uniform as if that badge of hers meant power. "Store manager." The woman with the clipboard lowered her eyes and wrote something down. "Cynthia," the man repeated slowly. His voice was calm, but underneath, I could hear the weight of authority. "We've had multiple calls, and now multiple video recordings sent in about this incident." He gestured toward the crowd of shoppers still holding up their phones. "It seems your behavior has drawn quite a bit of attention." The color drained from Cynthia's face. "Wait, you can't just believe them. They're strangers." "Strangers with cameras," the woman with the clipboard said flatly, her pen still moving. I folded my arms across my chest. My voice was quiet, but it carried through the tense air. "She accused me of theft, with no evidence, called the police, humiliated me. And she didn't stop there." I paused, locking eyes with her. "She made it racial." Murmurs rippled through the crowd like a wave. Cynthia's eyes widened. "That's not true. I never—" "You said people like you." I cut her off, my voice trembling, not from fear, but from controlled fury. "You looked me in the eye and told me I didn't belong here." The security guard stepped forward. His voice was firm. "I heard it too. She said it." Even the younger police officer added quietly, "I did as well." Cynthia's composure shattered like glass. No, you're twisting my words. She's manipulating all of you." The corporate man's tone hardened, the patience gone. "Cynthia, enough. We'll review the footage, but what I'm hearing and what I'm seeing right now is unacceptable." Her eyes darted between him, the clipboard, the officers, and finally me. Panic was crawling up her throat. "You can't do this," she snapped, desperation breaking through her arrogance. "You need me. I run this place." The woman with the clipboard didn't even look up as her pen scratched across the paper. "Not anymore," the crowd gasped. Phones flashed. Like paparazzi at a scandal, Cynthia's head whipped toward me, her eyes wide, her voice cracking. You did this." I held her gaze, calm, steady, unflinching. "No, Cynthia, you did this to yourself." Her lips trembled. She opened her mouth, but no words came, only silence, until finally she choked out a whisper. "You don't understand who you're messing with." I stepped closer, my voice cutting like steel. "And you don't understand who I am." For the first time, her eyes filled with something new, not arrogance, not pride, but fear. Because she was beginning to realize I wasn't just a customer. I wasn't just a woman with a cart of groceries. I was something much, much bigger, and her career, her reputation, her so-called power was already gone. The store was silent. Cynthia stood there frozen, her lips trembling, her eyes darting like a trapped animal. The corporate man turned back to me. His tone was calm, respectful. "Ma'am, for the record, could you please state your full name?" And in that moment, I felt it. The reason I had stayed calm when she spat venom in my face. The reason I told her she'd regret it. This was the moment she never saw coming. I straightened my shoulders, looked her dead in the eyes. "My name is Danielle Harris," I said slowly, letting each word land. "Regional director for this entire chain." The room exploded. Gasps, murmurs, phones zooming in to capture every second. Cynthia's jaw dropped. "No, no, you're lying." The woman with the clipboard finally looked up, her voice crisp and cold. "She's not lying, Cynthia. Danielle, Harris is our regional director, which means—" She paused, pen poised like a gavel. "She's your boss." The color drained from Cynthia's face. She staggered back like she'd just been hit. "No, no, that's not possible. She was pushing a cart. She was shopping like some what?" I cut her off, sharp as a blade. Her mouth opened, but nothing came out. I took a step forward. My voice was calm, but heavy with everything she had put me through. "You looked at me, and all you saw was a thief. All you saw was my skin. Not a customer, not a person, and certainly not your superior." Her hands shook. I didn't know. If I had known, if you had known," I snapped, fury breaking through. "So you'd have treated me with respect only if you knew I had power over you? Only if you knew I could end your career?" Her silence was louder than anything she could have said. The older police officer finally muttered, shaking his head. "Ma'am, I suggest you stop talking." But Cynthia couldn't stop. Her voice cracked, shrill and desperate. "You can't fire me for this. I've given years to this store. I keep it running. You need me." The corporate man's reply was ice. "What we need is integrity and leadership, qualities you clearly lack." Tears welled in her eyes. "Please, please, I didn't mean it. It was a mistake. Just a misunderstanding." I shook my head slowly. "Calling the police on an innocent woman isn't a misunderstanding. Accusing her in front of strangers, degrading her because of her race, that's not a mistake, Cynthia. That's a choice." Her voice broke into sobs. "Don't do this. Please. I'll lose everything." I looked at her, and in her face, I saw a mirror of the humiliation she had forced on me. The stares, the whispers, the weight of being judged for nothing but the color of my skin. But I didn't need to scream. I didn't need to humiliate her the way she had humiliated me. I only needed 5 words. "You're fired. Effective immediately." The clipboard woman dragged her pen across the page, drawing the final line of Cynthia's career. The crowd erupted. Again, some clapping, some whispering, phones flashing like fireworks. Cynthia's knees buckled. She reached out blindly, grabbing the counter to stay upright. "No, no, please!" The security guard stepped forward, steadying her arm. His voice was low, almost pitying. "Maybe you should leave quietly." But even through the tears, her eyes locked on mine, burning with hatred. "You'll regret this," she spat. "You think you're powerful, but you're not untouchable. People like you never are." The words hit different. Not just anger anymore, something darker, a threat. The crowd went silent, waiting for my reaction. I didn't flinch. I didn't blink. I looked straight at her and said only 2 words. "We'll see." The guard led her away, her sobs echoing against the walls. But even as she disappeared through the doors, I felt it in my gut. This wasn't the end, not by a long shot, because the truth had been revealed. And now, there would be consequences. The moment Cynthia was gone, the store changed. It was like the air itself had shifted. Lighter, cleaner, as if a storm had finally passed. I could hear whispers spreading through the aisles, people exchanging stunned looks, and then a soft ripple of claps. Not loud, not celebratory, just quiet, knowing. Like justice had been witnessed. The older police officer stepped closer, his face heavy. "With guilt, officer. Ma'am, I want to apologize. We should have handled this differently. We should have questioned her accusations before stepping in." I looked at him, my voice calm but weighted with truth. Me. It's not the first time this has happened to someone who looks like me. Just hope it's the last time it happens here. The younger officer, standing behind him, swallowed hard. His voice cracked with sincerity. Younger officer. It won't. Not on our watch. I held his gaze for a moment. He meant it. But I knew the world didn't change that easily. The security guard shifted uncomfortably, rubbing the back of his neck. Guard. I should have spoken up sooner. I saw what really happened, but I hesitated. That's on me. I turned to him, softer now, but firm. Me. Next time, don't hesitate. Silence gives power to people like her. He dropped his eyes, nodding slowly. Guard. Yes, ma'am. The corporate man, the one who'd stood silent through so much of it, finally stepped forward. His voice carried both authority and shame. Corporate. Man. Danielle, I'm sorry you had to endure this. It never should have happened in one of our stores. For the first time that day, I let out a long breath. The kind you don't realize you've been holding until it's gone. Me. It happens everywhere. The difference is this time there were consequences. The clipboard woman, precise as always, handed me her notes. Clipboard woman. Everything is documented. HR will circulate the report chain-wide. Cynthia won't be coming back. My eyes drifted toward the door where they'd led her out. Even now, I could still hear the echoes of her cries in the back of my mind. Some part of me felt pity. Watching. Someone lose everything isn't easy, no matter how cruel they've been. But then I remembered the sting of her words, the way strangers' eyes had burned into me. The fear when those sirens wailed, when every face turned to me like I was already guilty. I straightened. Me. Good. The tension in the room eased. Customers began to scatter back to their carts, their errands, their normal lives. But a few lingered. One elderly woman approached me, her eyes glistening. She reached out, taking my hand gently. Elderly woman. I'm so sorry you had to go through that. Thank you for standing up, not just for yourself, but for all of us who've seen this kind of ugliness before. Her words sank deep, warming something inside me that had been frozen for hours. I squeezed her hand back. For the first time that day, I felt not alone. But just as relief started to settle in, movement caught my eye. Outside the window, it was her, Cynthia. She stood by her car, her face pale, but her eyes burned. Not with regret, not with shame, with fury. Her gaze locked on me like a blade. Her lips moved, shaping words only I could read. This isn't over. A chill crawled down my spine. The same chill you feel when the storm clouds don't clear, they just move farther away. For a moment I wondered. Would her downfall turn her bitter? Would she come back harder, sharper, darker? But then I lifted my chin, because I knew the truth. She could rage, she could threaten, but she no longer had power over me. I walked to the register, scanned my groceries, and paid like I had intended to from the very start. And as the automatic doors slid open, I stepped into the sunlight with my head high. The words rose inside me like a vow, echoing through my chest, through every scar and every moment I'd carried silently before. Me. We don't stay silent anymore. The fight isn't over. Not yet.